move. Balls to Panja. 2 for 6. Cheaton, thank you for your company today. We will hear from you again tomorrow. You're going to go and write some wonderful words and then be replaced by... So Paul Walter to continue. India 207. Kartik 56 and Hardik Pandya has 9. You can really... kick. And all he's got is dust and dirt flying up around his ankles. Here comes Paul Walter outside the off stump to Dinesh Kartik. Paul Walter outside the off stump to Dinesh Kartik, who leaves the ball alone. It goes into the black gloves of Michael Pepper. Seat to my right hand side.
Good to see you, Stefan. I was saying to you earlier, the last time we met was Kent Pier. Kent Pier. 6 at Canterbury, last game of 2016.
Very well. Paul Walter, left arm over, he receives the ball back from the mid-off fielder. Essex captain Tom Westbrook mid-on claps his hand. Walter runs in and bowls, and again that's wide of the off stump. Dinesh Kartik leaves the ball alone. As a reminder, the England squad for the first test is named tomorrow, around about midday. That match gets underway next Wednesday. Full coverage on Sports Extra, BBC Radio 4 Longwave and on the BBC Sport website. First of 5 test matches in the space of 6 weeks. You won't miss a moment across the BBC. Hardik Pandya at the non-strikers then just removes his helmet, replaces it as Walter is in now to Kartik, forcing off the back foot. He's going to get 4 through points.
Nice shot, and I'd certainly say the spectators have had good value for money today. Essex haven't been completely overwhelmed. They had that very good start with 2 wickets down, with only 5 on the board and 2 good men out. But obviously it's been a good fight back by India. Kohli was just majestic. Wonderful sight. I thought Rahul played very well as well for his half century. From an Essex point of view, very good opening spell from Matt Coles, and this fellow Paul Walter has bowled well.
276 for 6. Kartik on 60 and waits. That's down the leg side. Kartik turns off his hip and India stroll a single. 277 for 6. If England were paying attention, they would notice that the top order had struggled. 5 for 2, 44 for 3. 3 catches dropped. Could have been worse for India. But they will also notice that Virat Kohli has been in supreme touch, and the engine room, India's middle order, Dinesh Kartik taking the gloves from the injured Saha, KL Rahul getting runs, maybe forcing his way into the test side. They'll know the depth that India have. Walter, tall, blonde-haired, left arm into Pandya, who carefully dabs the ball towards third man and takes a single. 278 for 6. Maybe just a touch of intensity has gone out of the Essex bowling after they did so well in the first session.
I think you're absolutely right. Hot day, you can't entirely blame them. But yeah, just on the points you were making vis-a-vis the test series, India, formidable lineup, should be a great series. But I think England will be a little bit encouraged. I know it's not a direct reference, but from the way in the one-day internationals, after India so convincingly won Game 1, they seem to lose their way a little bit in the next 2, and England will be thinking that might be true in the Test series.
Walter bowls to Kartik. Inside half of the bat causes excitement from Pepper and the soul-slip Dan Lawrence, but Kartik is untroubled, unmoved at the end of the over. India 278 for 6, Kartik 61, Pandya 10, as the sun just begins to recede.
And the other point you did make is that 3 catches went down in the slips, all in the first hour and a half. And bearing in mind that the first 2 wickets had already gone down before the first catch went down, and actually both, if you like, numbers 3 and 4 were put down before they really got to 20. So it could literally have been about 30 or 40 for 4. And who knows then what might have happened. So there is vulnerability in the Indian line-up, as evidenced by today.
Niger begins a new over. That's outside the off-stump, and Pandya leaves it alone. Niger is bowling beneath us at the river end. He's got a short approach, very straight. He's going round the wicket, past the umpire's left shoulder and in now, and Panja prods onto the front foot and defends into the offside.
Not much turn for Aaron Nijar today. Just the odd one maybe has turned very slowly and slightly. Nothing really has bitten.
Gull flies past as Nijar is in once more. That's shorter, that Panja forces off the back foot once more. Well, it's almost a carbon copy of the shot we saw in the previous over. Panja just rocking onto the back foot, Tendulkar-esque, and pushing the ball through extra cover for a boundary. He has 14 in even time, injured 282 for 6.
We're in the 72nd over. I'm thinking new ball due in another 8. And I'm thinking Essex will almost certainly take it as soon as it's available, really, and bring back Matt Coults and Matt Quinn.
Nijar has the ball in his left hand. He shines it on his left thigh. Now he brings his hands together and spins himself a catch. Once more he approaches the crease. Panja down the pitch. It almost kicks the ball away into the covers.
Yes, I think he fancies himself against Nijar here because he knows that every now and then the bowler will drop one just a bit too short, and then he can rock onto the back foot, and he's very good at placing it through the gaps in the offside field.
Nijar just throws the ball to the umpire, who inspects it. Now shown it to Dinesh Karthik. Nothing doing other than to say, get on with it, Aaron Nijar. Nijar does so, he's in, and he bowls. Panja covers up on the back foot in defence. Puff of dust goes towards short fine leg as Panja plays that stroke, and now he's down the pitch, just tapping at it with the bat in his right hand.
Yeah, that was the arm ball from Nijar there, but the batsman was ready for it, wasn't deceived.
Final ball of the over. Nijar in, bowls again. That's quicker, straighter, but Panja back onto his stumps, wristily turning the ball to deep backward square leg. Single taken to end the over. India are 283 for 6. Dinesh Karthik 61. Hardik Pandya 15.
And as has been true for all the Essex home games this season, a very goodly crowd here, even though it's not officially a first-class match, albeit when many of them bought tickets, it was on the understanding that it would be. But I don't think they'll go away feeling they've been chizzed in any way, because they've actually had a very interesting day's cricket with, after a slow start by India in which the bowlers were on top, and the spectators won't have been all that sorry to see some good performances from the Essex opening bowlers. But then the bats rather taken over, and we've seen entertaining cricket with some wonderful stroke play from one of the best sides in world cricket. So, as I say, I think they've had good value for money.
Did you just use the word chizzed?
Yes.
We'll come back to that.
Certainly.
The tall Pandya waits for Paul Walter outside the off stump, and Pandya plays at it. He's beaten. No edge. Chizzed. Explain yourself.
Right, well, chizzed means cheated.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't aware that you hadn't actually been familiar with the word. It was probably, although I'm still very young, but there are other people like yourself who are even younger than I am, and chizzed was a fairly frequently used word, certainly back in the last century or two.
I'm not sure if chizzed has ever been used on the BBC before.
Well, there we are.
Walter in to Pandya. That's down the leg side. He's going to get 4, Pandya. Walter throws his head back because he knows he's erred to Hardik Pandya, and it just took a little clip from Pandya off the toes to go to the very fine leg boundary. 283 for 7. Pandya on to 19.
Yeah, chizzed and swizzed, really.
Swizzed, I've heard
two
swizzed.
of a kind, yeah. Yes, each to his own, as it were, but Paul Walter there is a little bit hangdog when he's had a bit of bad luck, and actually, for me, that can tend to give the batsman the feeling of, yeah, all right, I may have got away with something, but good to see you upset at the other end. I do tend to like not to give too much away.
Walter tries again. He's in towards us now, and he bowls, and Pandya, huge stride forward in defence, just rolling the ball into the covers.
Having said that, I think Paul Walter can feel pretty pleased with his day's work. It's not every day you get the Indian captain out, Virat Kohli, and got him genuinely out. It wasn't a fluke or anything like that. And he has bowled some jaffers in the course of the day. All right, I'll warrant that some of his bowling is too loose and he's giving a few too many away, but it was a beauty with which he got rid of Vijay.
He kicks the dust up as he runs in, Walter. Again, that's full on the pads of Pandya. Misfield at square leg allows Pandya to literally walk through for a single. Score moves on to 288 for 6. Pandya has 20 from 21 deliveries. There's about 40 minutes of play remaining. We'll be with you right through to the close on 5 Live Sports Extra. It's around 6:45. There'll be full commentary from the Kia Super League, the Southern Vipers against the Loughborough Lightning, and then later in the evening, action from the Women's Hockey World Cup, hosts England taking on the USA. Walter, 2 deliveries of his over remaining. He's in now to Dinesh Karthik, who's pulling for 4. Too short from Paul Walter, and Karthik had the option really whether to play that through the offside or the leg side. He decided on a pull shot straight of square leg that's rattled into a blue advertising board at the mid-wicket fence, the longest boundary on the ground. India go on to 292 for 6, and Karthik has 65.
Well, the Indians are a good batting side. We noted early on when there was some movement that they looked a bit vulnerable, but I think anyone would, the way the ball was moving around in the first hour. What we've seen subsequently is that if you err in line and length to them, you will be punished, and that was a bit of a long hop. It was far too short. It sat up and begged and got the treatment it deserved, and this is where Paul Walter does need to tighten up.
Walter, final ball of the over, lumbers in towards Karthik. Straight delivery that Karthik pushes up to Tom Wesley at mid-on. Over completed. Walter has bowled 15 overs. He's 2 wickets. That says 90. He just can't have conceded 90 runs. Oh, his figures have just gone off the board. Never mind. India 292 for 6. Dinesh Karthik has 65. Hardik Pandya has 20. Paul Newton is going to pick up the commentary, and he's going to be joined by Don Topley.
Thanks very much to Stefan Chenault there. And we've had a wonderful array of commentators for you today, because we've also been joined by a couple of the Asian Network commentators. And they are Ankit Desai and also Chetan Narula. It's been great to have them with us, as they'll be here for the 3 days of the match. Tomorrow, Glenn Speller, the BBC Essex sports editor, and Dick Davis will join the team as Don Topley and myself make way. But we're still here. Don joins me again, and going to be Nijat coming in now, beginning a new over, and nice use of the feet here, and score remaining as the ball just played back to the bowler, 292 for 6. And certainly good day's cricket, Don. We'll bring you in after this ball as Nijat comes in and bowls. Ooh, and that one does turn a little bit. Almost the first time we've seen that. And goes off the pad to backward point Matt Coles.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening.
I've enjoyed it. I'm sure you have.
I have.
I didn't quite buy into the pessimism that this is now a rubbish game of cricket. Look, people are still playing for their careers and form. I found it intriguing.
And next ball, Pandya works this one past Walter, well fielded. Great stop, and he gets up immediately and sends in a good return. That is the best bit of fielding we've seen all day, because I was about to say in the last over that the Essex fielding really hasn't been good, with 3 drop catches and a fair number of runs given away that might have been stopped. But that one was won back against the head, as it were. Very well fielded by Paul Walter. 293 for 6. They do get a single.
Yeah, very well fielded. Listen, he's had quite a good day. Look, we know he's been a little bit expensive. He knows that, but he's got 2 gorgeous wickets.
And down the pitch comes Karthik here, and then settles through a defensive shot. This is something I think English players are short on, Don, this ability to come down the pitch, but not then to lift the head and try and loft it back. Play a defensive shot, because you realise that the ball's not quite there to be hit. Here's Nijjar again, bowls, and this ball, they can take a quick single, to the credit of Karthik, as the ball goes down to deep mid-on, who's Tom Wesley, and the score up to 294 for 6, with Karthik on 66 and 21 to Pandya.
Indians and the Pakistanis, the subcontinent, play spin bowlers very differently to how we do.
They do indeed, and here's another example. They're not afraid to leave their crease altogether, and they're very rarely stumped, as here the last ball of the over is played by Pandya out into the offside for no run, and at the end of the 74th over, India, who won the toss and batted, 294 for 6.
Traditionally, you will see, and I don't just mean England players, I'm talking about county cricketers, they will lunge at a spinner with a decent stride of feet, movement, and that's how they play, where you find they're quick on the feet, they might dance down the wicket, Indians, or they sometimes are very happy to stay back in their crease and play from the crease. To them, that is not alien. That is part of the way they play. They're happy to play the ball later, play back, and let it come, let it come, let it come, where traditionally we go forward with a big lunge. Traditionally. They also have a little forward press, so they slightly come forward, and I'm only talking about 3 or 4 inches, and then reevaluate and play again. They, where we stand still and then we lunge.
Yeah, I think the other thing I've noticed, Don, as Matt Coles comes into the attack at the Hayes close end to replace Paul Walter, is that too many English players play purely from the crease, and that reduces their shot and making run-scoring options to the sweep and the reverse sweep a lot of the time, and they can be dangerous shots. Here's Coles in, bowls a good straight ball, but played with a good straight bat by Kartik, down to Wesley at mid-on, no run.
Coles has had a quiet afternoon. He did a fair bit of bowling this morning, 12 overs, 2 for 21. Quinn, 12 overs, 1 for 22. Clearly he's not going to be stacked with loads of overs, Matt Quinn. Aaron Beard, 16 overs, 0 for 80. Dixon, 12 overs, 0 for 50. Walter, 15 overs, 2 in the right column, but he's gone for 90, so that's 6 and over. Nijar, 7 overs, 1 for 23.
Coles bowls, and this is a leave outside. Off stump by Kartik, goes through to Michael Pepper, who's looked very assured at keeping to the quicker bowlers, but rather more vulnerable when keeping to the spin of Aaron Nijar. There was a moment where I just wondered whether, I can't remember which batsman was on strike at the time, might just have got an edge. It would have been a difficult catch, but one that James Foster would almost certainly have taken. As Coles comes in, bowls, and this ball punched off the back foot into the covers. Nick Brown fields. He wasn't on the field in the morning because Essex can choose from 13 players, but he's done lots of fielding. Since then, mostly well fielded as well. He's a good fieldsman. 294 for 6 remains a score.
So India are playing 18, Essex are playing 13, which my maths tells me there are 2 guys off. That's the way to play cricket. Have a little bowl and then go and have a sit down.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Wouldn't you have liked that in your playing days? Coles is in. Bowls, and it's another good delivery, and this ball is played to backward point. And if there's one thing, there might be more than one, but shall we say one of the things I'd take from Essex's performance today, Don, even allowing for the fact that it's not a counting match, as it were, but Matt Coles has bowled very, very well today. Whereas I've seen him earlier, mainly in one-day cricket, be a little bit wayward here and there. You couldn't accuse him of that today. He's been bang on the money as he comes in again. And bowls, and there's a swish here. And because he's bowled so straight, he's got the batsman then, who's Kartik, having a go at one he should have left and very nearly feathered it through.
Peter from Canterbury, he suggests Kohli was unlucky to be caught by Chopra.
Yes.
I think he's been a little cynical.
A little bit tongue in both cheeks. But Peter, you're absolutely right. I had the same thought myself, because not only did he put 2 down, but Foster took one he was just about to attempt to take, and he didn't look as if he was in a good position to take it. Coles is in and bowls, and it's played down to third man. To give Chopra his due, I should say, he did actually take the catch that dismissed Kohli pretty convincingly. A single then off the last ball goes down to third man. 295 for 6 at the end of 75 overs, and 22 now to Kartik, but that was a good over from the returning Coles.
It was. The challenge for Coles today, hasn't played a lot of championship cricket from earlier in the season, played predominantly one-day cricket, so he's now bowled 13 overs. And it will be interesting to see how his body, how he reacts to bowling probably more overs in a day than he has in the entire season, because he's, just hasn't played as much cricket. So Matt Coles, big test for him to see how his third spell of the day comes out.
Yeah, I mean, one point to make is that as Nijar already begins a new over from the river end, initially to Kartik, slip in a back pad, and it's just played back down the pitch. One point to make, in championship cricket, the new ball goes to Jamie Porter from the Hayes close end. Now, Coles made terrific use of it today, but Porter's going to be a hard man to get the ball off after all he's achieved for Essex in his relatively short career. This is only his 5th season. Appeal for LBW, but the batsman was a long way forward there and taken on the pad, he being Kartik, but well bowled to Nijar nonetheless. 295 for 6.
Trying to find a couple of tweets that were sent in.
Nijar, slow left arm around the wicket past Nick Cook. Bowls to Kartik. who just steers the ball to backward point, Matt Coles, and there is no run.
I've enjoyed today.
So have I. No, I'm glad you mentioned that because, yes, any thought that this would be a complete waste of time and a glorified net session has been far from how it's gone on this day, as this next ball is played. Very well stopped by Coles there, diving to his right at backward point, so there's no run where there might have been 4. And I accept the fact I've seen many of these tourist games that on the final day they do tend to peter out rather disappointingly, but nonetheless, today has been a thoroughly enjoyable day as Nijjar's in and bowls, and that's a bit short, whacked away, and a misfield on the square leg boundary by Paul Walter means that what should really only have been a single goes for 4, and the score up to 299 for 6. And in fact, I beg Paul Walter's pardon, that wasn't him, that's Matt Quinn out there, who got hands to the ball, but it burst through his hands and went over the boundary at square leg. In fairness, the ball was travelling, and it was a rank long hop from Aaron Nijjar. Here's a shorter, flatter delivery, takes the batsman on the pad, but would palpably have gone past the leg stump, so no appeal. Not the worst over, it's just one bad delivery in it from Nijjar, but 299 for 6 up on the board with 71 to Kartik and 21 to Pandya. And if there is a lesson from today's bowling from an Essex point of view, Don, with the exception of Matt Coles, who's hardly put a ball out of place, and possibly Matt Quinn, who's been pretty economical as well, the rest of the bowlers have all bowled some very good deliveries, but have bowled 1 or 2 poor deliveries in and over, and that's why they've been rather expensive.
Yeah. Beard, maybe a little bit expensive, but Quinn and Coles have been good.
Coles bowls. Take another example of my flowing poetry, and this ball is played back to the bowler, and there is no run, and score remaining 299 for 6. Pandya on strike here has made a very untroubled 21. He's looked in good nick. Of course, he's fresh from all the previous cricket in the shorter form of the game, played by the touring party. Here's a good delivery from Coles, an off-cutter, but it's safely left because it started just a bit too far outside off stump, even though in the end it doesn't miss off stump by more than 3 or 4 inches.
Well, it's got a bit cloudy here. The sunshine is hiding. No sign of rain, clearly. It's going to be even hotter, I think it's on Friday.
Yes, I mean, they were forecasting might be 33 today. I don't think it has been. I don't think it's been the hottest day of the year at all. And I've taken a few spins outside as Coles is in, bowls outside off stump, goes through to the wicket-keeper, no shot needed from Pandya. And there has been quite a refreshing breeze as well. It's not been one of those horrible, humid, clammy days where you can't breathe. And actually in the box here, Don, I mean, there have been times over the years where it really has been oppressive and unpleasant. And I don't think it has been today. I would like to thank the club for installing a fan in here.
That's your only fan?
For the first time. This is the only fan I've got in all the world. Here is Coles in. Bowls to Pandya. Oh, takes him on the pad field for LBW.
I'm interested.
But not out, says umpire Rob White. And Coles turns around and says, oh, go on, umpire, spoil yourself. But he's not for being moved. I think it was a fair enough decision, but it was well worth an appeal.
Yeah, no, good decision, bringing him forward, hit him on the pad. Maybe for the umpire it was just going down. 2 slips have been in operation most of the day. I tend to think if this was a championship fixture, you would have seen the 2 slips move a little bit into the outfield.
Coles is in bowls, and it's another very good ball. It's well played out here by Pandya. There's no run. What I would say, Don, I mean, we can't say that Coles only bowled well with the new ball. This ball is as old as it can get. If he could bowl spells as well as he's bowled today in all his spells, I'd have him in the team. Because these last, we spoke earlier today, Essex have a really tough run in. They're safe enough at the moment, but the 2 Surrey games are going to be a big problem, you would think, as Coles comes in and bowls, and there's another good delivery, and it's played back to the bowler. There are more ways of taking wickets than bowling wicket-taking balls. You can frustrate batsmen by tying them down, and Coles has done it both ways. He's both bowled wicket-taking balls, and he's frustrated batsmen because he doesn't bowl them a bad ball every over. And I feel that if Essex give him enough cricket, and play him in the T20s as well. He could be a major asset in the last few games. And isn't it good news that Peter Siddle, I believe, is returning?
Yeah, he is. Neil Wagner, slightly mixed with his performance. Probably hasn't bowled as well at the death as he would hope. But listen, when he plays county championship cricket, there's a lot of endeavour goes to his bowling. Bangs it in, he tries to swing it. If it doesn't swing, he then goes to default, which is normally a short delivery. But Peter Siddle was magnificent. What did he play? 6 games at the beginning of the season?
In the end, of course, no play at Headingley, so only 4. And I tell you what, he was a huge factor in the vital win at Worcester.
Yeah.
Because Essex were outplayed for 2 days. Here comes Nijar in, bowls, and sweet shot there. And it goes down to the fine leg boundary on 45 degrees. 4 to Kartik, takes him up to 75, 303 for 6. And I'll tell you what, Kartik hasn't been the most spectacular man today, but he is the top scorer and he's very good at accumulating.
He's all good to bowl at.
Yeah.
Small man, plays very well square of the wicket. I think traditionally with small guys like this, you like to get him coming forward. But having to get him to come forward means you need to pitch the ball a little further up. He's an awkward customer. He's a very talented, very effective cricketer.
Nijar again, slow left arm around the wicket, bowls, another attempted sweep, and the batsman didn't know where that one had gone, but it sort of inside edge into pad and rebounds into the offside. There's no run. Just going back, Neil Wagner, 10 out of 10 for effort, but the pitches probably haven't suited him that he's had to bowl on. Didn't get many wickets. I think Peter Siddle will take quite a few more, as here is Nijar in and bowls, and this ball is scooped away over the shoulder for 4 more, and so he's up to 79 is Kartik, 307 for 6. Just going back to Peter Siddle, I'm not sure how long he's here for. It's for August, and whether he goes much into September, I don't know, but I think he could be a major asset in the next couple of games, at least against Somerset and Hampshire.
I think he's a great performer. And what Essex have done and done well is they've got their 2 young opening bowlers, Porter and Cook, and they're being given rest, a natural rest, which is good. Siddle often comes on first change.
Yep. That's right, as Nijar's in and bowls just tucked for a single into the offside. Intelligent cricket from Kartik. It's gone 4-4-1 in this over. Moves up to 80, 308 for 6. But yes, I do think that Essex, we were saying that they can't afford to be complacent. They would have been bottom of the pile if they'd lost that game at Worcester. But Siddle, I think, could be the crucial asset to them. As this next ball is played off the back foot into the covers. Nick Brown fields. There's no run. Score remaining at 308 for 6. And Nijar just waits to be given the ball back by Aaron Beard. And here he comes again. Bowls. Good delivery. Right sort of line and length there. End of the over.
Not a bad over.
No.
It went for 2 boundaries. One was a very good calculated sweep, and the other shot really was sort of made into a full toss, which the bowler will be disappointed, but it was quite well executed by Kartik. I'm not going to say it was a bad over. He was trying to give the ball a bit of air as well. No, he has bowled quite reasonable.
And this, after all, is a true test for the bowlers, because all these Indian batsmen are of such a standard and class that if you bowl them just a little bit too much width, or you're just a bit too short, just a bit far out, they will, reap the reward for that. They'll punish you. So if you bowled even quite well here, you're bowling against a better set of batsmen than you're going to meet in the average championship match, for example. Matt Quinn is now going to replace Matt Coles, perhaps not least because the second new ball is due, and Essex will want Quinn and Coles between them to have first use of it.
Coles' spell, his third, was only 2 overs from the Hayes close end. 14 overs, 2 for 22. Very economic. He picked up the new ball wickets earlier this morning.
And what it shows is, even against top-class batsmen, if you can be bang on the money all the time, even they're not going to score much off you. Quinn's in and bowls a good delivery. It hurries on to Kartik, and it's an edgy shot down to third man. And out of our sight, we're obscured by the stands of the Tom Pearce stand, the railings in front of us there, but evidently someone has fielded it and kept it down to a single, and the score to 309 for 6, and Kartik moves up to 81, and Pandya will take strike.
Yep. Kartik played well. That was a good delivery. Quinn back on. Be really interested to see how he comes out tomorrow as well.
I rather fancy Kartik to go on and play a long innings and get well over 100 here. As Quinn is in the bowls to Pandya, and that's a leave outside off stump. And score remaining 309 for 6. And I say what I say because Kartik looks the sort of player who doesn't lose patience.
He enjoys batting, doesn't he? Well, it'll also be down to, there's 6 down, so in theory we're down with number 8 at the moment, but we could have a genuine batsman coming at 9 and 10.
Yep.
So, your prediction could come true if India persist with proper batsmen at 9, 10 and 11.
And here is Quinn in again, bowls. It's a good delivery. I think he's bowled pretty well today, Matt Quinn. Ball played back to the bowler.
Bowled better, I think, from the Hayes close end than he did. There was one, I think it was his first spell this morning. He didn't look to me as if he finished his action off in his follow-through.
Yep.
He bowled a couple of balls that were wide and wider or slipped down the leg side. He didn't bowl quite as well as Matt Coles, but he may have had the harder end.
Well, the problem there, and come to it after this ball, which Quinn is already preparing to bowl, still 2 slips in, Lawrence and Nijjar, and Quinn bowls. It's another good delivery, and it's again an edgy shot down to third man, along the ground, let it be said. Pandya moves up to 22 with the inevitable single, 310 for 6 on the board. But the trouble is, I think, Don, nearly all the bowlers prefer to bowl from the Hayes close end, and obviously only one of them at any one time can do so. And it's no coincidence that of the 6 wickets to fall, only 1 has come from the river end, and that was the slow left arm, Nijjar, with KL Rahul going for a big drive, lofting the ball high in the air, and could catch Dixon at mid-off. As good delivery off cutter here from Quinn, but I think it does too much. It bites back and would have beaten leg stump, and so the bowler, who'd begun an appeal, just lets it trail off. As he can see, that would have beaten leg stump. Kartik is the man on strike now. He's on a top-scoring 81, and India are 310 for 6.
3 results in the county championship. In Division 1, Worcestershire have lost to Somerset by a huge 141 runs. I'll come back to that.
Quinn is in, bowls, and this ball is played into the offside, into the covers. There is no run. It's the end of the Quinn over, and 310 for 6. 79 overs have gone. 1 over remains before the new ball.
Worcestershire lost by 141 runs, but they made 301 in their final innings with Jamie Overton, Somerset's one of the 2 Overtons. He's claimed his 8th wicket in the match, 4 for 82. So Worcestershire still firmly rooted, I believe. And in Division 2, Gloucestershire have defeated Durham. Durham needed 330-odd to win. They were bowled out for 298 and lost by 41 runs. 4 wickets for Taylor, 3 shared then for Higgins and Miles. And the final fixture of the day, which was Derbyshire and Northamptonshire in Division 2. Derbyshire won by 39 runs. So that's an important win there over sort of neighbours Northamptonshire. 274 all out Northamptonshire with Critchley, the leg spinner, taking 6 wickets. Right, we have Matt Coles, who started from the Hayes close end for 2 overs just now, has replaced the left armour, and he's bowling from the river end. He bowls his first ball, which is left alone through to the keeper, dot ball. Going back to the tables then, which I think is quite important as the games are now finished. Worcestershire remain bottom with 59, Hampshire second bottom 72, Lancashire 73, Yorkshire 87, as Coles bowls and drags the batsman forward, played out to mid-off for no run. Essex in 4th place with 92, Nottinghamshire 3rd 110, Somerset with that great win today 119, and Surrey way ahead. Are they doing an Essex like last year? They are, in fact, if my math tells me right, they are 34 points ahead, having played the same amount of games with 153. Coles bowls through to the keeper. It's a play and miss this time, but there is no run.
Good evening. You mentioned that Worcestershire Okay, Somerset beating Worcestershire by 141 runs. Worcestershire's 10th wicket partnership, Alex Milton and Steve McGoffin, they added 141 runs. They broke a record that had stood for, I think, more than 100 years.
Really?
Alex Milton, 104 not out.
Is he a youngster?
He was on debut.
He is a youngster. Coles in, outside off stump, driven out by Pandya. 2 mid off, there is no run. 310 for 6.
Yeah, that record was previously 119. It was set in 1906. So McGoffin and Milton went well past that. They added 141 runs for the 10th wicket. They resisted for 38 overs. Their partnership actually was worth 136. The victory margin was 141 runs.
Coles in. Nice and straight, no. Not out, too high. Wicketkeeper and first slip were the first and the most aggressive of the appealers. But can't be given out. They're slightly blinded by the batsman as it hit him on the thigh pad. Dot ball. No run. Yeah, interesting. The Jamie Overton picked up some wickets, 4 for 82. He's been in and out the side, a couple of injuries, a bit of confidence. Good to see him back, a young bowler, along with his brother Craig Overton. Coles is in, driven out to mid-off. They take a quick single because the fielder had to move to his right. He's right-handed. Sorry, move to his left as he's right-handed. So it was an easy single achieved. 311 for 6, and we've had 80 overs now. In this friendly, non-first class, do they have a second eagle? Is there a second eagle?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd think that playing conditions would stay reasonably close to...
Do the BCCI want to have more batting practice and use just the old ball? I'm being cynical.
Well, there looks to be some activity out there. See what it's got darker, quickly. And I say darker in the sense that I just saw, and I'm still wearing sunglasses, so I know that is quite silly to say, but I did see a camera flash go off in the distance, and the flash was quite pronounced. And then I'm looking at the electronic advertising board over there, and that seems to be standing out in the shadows. So it's more like the shadows have descended over Chelmsford rather than it's got dark, because the sky is still a beautiful blue.
There's always a shadow over Chelmsford. Not at all. Very proud people, the Essex men and ladies, full of character. New ball taken, according to Mr. Newton at the back of the office. And it's going to be Matt Queen, I think. He comes in, bowls, nice and straight, played out to forward short leg. They take through for the single. Very well played by India. Another single was made, 312 for 6. Where are you staying tonight?
I'll be here in Chelmsford. I arrived late last evening. I'm at a popular purple-branded chain of hotels just up the road.
Oh, that was brilliantly done as a BBC staff.
And I shall have a little bit of work to complete here at the close of play. Then I shall venture out into the streets of Chelmsford.
Do you fancy going down to Sugar Hut?
To the where?
Sugar Hut.
What's the Sugar Hut?
Towie in, plays into the leg side. A little bit of an inside edge, which Kartik will take the single. He moves on to 82, score 313.
Now,
yeah. You could go and get a little spray tan.
Well, see, I'm not. You don't have to fill me in on what the Sugar Hut is.
Ooh.
The only way is Essex.
You're playing naive.
No, it's passed me by. That and Love Island and those sorts of things.
You're the right age.
Thank you very much for mentioning that. But yeah, it just hasn't quite come on my radar.
Do you know what? It's so sad. I'm having to watch a bit of Love Island at home, and I'm not happy. As Quinn bowls outside off stump through to the keeper, dot ball.
Yeah, I can honestly say that Love Island has passed me by.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the darts this evening. World Match Play currently going on in Blackpool.
Now you've got a northern accent.
Well, I'm from Stoke-on-Trent, which is the world capital of darts.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Do you support Stoke City or Port Vale?
If I was pushed, I would say Stoke City, but I'm not. I'm happy for either of them to do well, to be honest.
Rugby man?
Not really.
Just cricket. Quinn in, driven up to mid-on where there is no run. Forceful drive, good delivery with the new ball trying to make it swing, but there was none.
No, I like my football. Bob, just have no... I don't have the passion for a particular allegiance.
Don't you?
I'm a bit lazy.
Well, Paul Newton, our colleague for the day, and myself live up. I live just inside Suffolk. Paul is just inside Essex. And I think we follow Colchester United nil. That's their proper name. As Quinn's in bowls. It's an inside edge play down to fine leg where I think it's... I can't tell who that is under that cap. They all look... It's going to be... Who is it? Dixon, Matt Dixon. The Essex lads look a little bit tired now. Their trousers are full of red where they've been polishing the ball, and there's a bit of dirt on their rump or their thighs where they've been diving around. It's and I'm sure they're a little bit tired, perspired. Oh, what a good delivery. That swung beautifully. It's gone late. It's gone with the slope. That is a cracking delivery. I reckon I've seen 3 or 4 deliveries today, and they are top draw deliveries.
Yeah, lovely stuff from Matt Quinn, who is finishing the day as strongly as he started it. Widest delivery that Kartik was drawn into playing, but it swung and it kept going, and it almost brought the edge. I was just wondering when Quinn was running in then. I'm wondering who will be batting when we arrive first thing in the morning. Because I do wonder if India may think that tomorrow might be a bowling day if they want to bat again on Friday. Because with Shikhar Dhawan going first ball and Pujara making only 1, they may want to give them every chance to bat again on the third day.
Coles in, driven out to mid-off. Well, diving stop there, well fielded by Dixon. Dixon, the bowler, diving to help his teammate out. And the teammate will be the bowler, that is Matt Coles. He'll be chuffed that he's just saved him 4 runs.
And from an India point of view, they'll want their bowlers to get miles in the legs. They'll want to see Kuldeep Yadav with the red ball, see if he's going to put any pressure on R. Ashwin or Ravi Jadeja.
Coles in, swung, played back to the bowler on his follow-through. No run, well bowled. Yeah, I'm interested in Quinn today because he's had these back operations. He's was limited to 40 overs a week, slightly earlier in the season. But now we've got the T20 sort of, he's passed with flying colours because he had to have another operation, but he's now up to 80 overs. Probably won't achieve that, generally speaking, because there's T20 on. In-swinger from Coles. He puts his hand to his head because he felt he bowled well, but it's been played beautifully by Pandya into mid-wicket for 4. He now moves to 29. The score 3-22 for 6.
Yeah, Pandya's looked in nice touch since he's arrived. He's just another one of this India middle order, this engine room that's getting valuable time at the crease. Dinesh Kartik, he's been out of the side for a long time. Ridham and Saha, the usual wicket-keepers, that's have a shoulder injury, so this is a real boost for India that Kartik's in the runs.
Bowls an away swinger. This goes to backward point. Pandya comes forward. And it was a good shot, but no runs. Well bowled, actually. The ball did swing again. It's good to see, to give the bowlers the opportunity to get a wicket with the swinging ball. The new ball, it is only 2 overs old.
England will be taking note that this India batting lineup, these two will probably be 6 and 7, are in the runs.
Coles in again, right arm over. Plays and misses through to the keeper, dot ball.
And if R. Ashwin does make the team, which he probably will, and you've got a 6, 7, 8 of Kartik, Pandya, Ashwin in any particular order, that is strong.
And that's dismissing Jadeja.
Well, who knows where he might fit in.
I remember during that India series out in India, Coles in, a decent ball left alone by Pandya through to the keeper, dot ball, 318 for 6. I remember in particular that series, whilst India looked good. There was the off-spinner, Yadav, kept getting runs. And was it Ashwin or was it a seamer? But You know, every time 6, 7, 8 came to the wicket in India, they got runs.
Well, if you think that not long ago a great strength of England's was Stokes, Bairstow, Moeen, 6, 7, 8. Now that has broken up. Moeen out of the side, Bairstow having to be pushed to number 5 to cover gaps elsewhere. That real engine room of England's doesn't quite exist anymore. They have got a certain Joss Butler in there batting at number 7.
3 slips for the new ball. Quinn's in. That's gone at right angles down the slope. Started off a little wider, but went very wide. Not given as an official wide, but well taken by Pepper, who took it really in between first and second slip.
Yeah, Quinn's making this second new ball move around both in the air and off the seam. The ball has nipped around off the seam all day, and that may be just because the surface is dry and it's gripping slightly.
Definitely. 3 slips. Chopra's not one of them. We've got Lawrence, Coles and Nijjar. Ball outside off stump through to the keeper. Dot ball.
We're not seeing a great deal of bounce though with the second new ball. It's almost,
pace has gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's almost getting through to Michael Pepper on the second bounce, and so that'll be something again that interests the India bowlers come tomorrow.
Now, question for you, Stefan. If you were coach, captain, ball's not always carrying through. Has Pepper standing a bit deep now the ball's dying?
Answer that question after
pace has gone. Quinn's in, bowls down the leg side, and that is actually well fielded by Pepper, who goes down with sort of a long barrier down to his leg side as the ball passes the batsman's rump.
It's tricky for a wicketkeeper because Pepper, if he gets any closer, he's almost going to be in no man's land, neither back nor up to the stumps. And so, to negate the fact that the ball is bouncing twice on the way through to him, he'd almost have to stand up, completely stand up. But he probably doesn't want to do that against a new ball, because it'd be much harder to take any sort of edge.
Slips would have to come up with him as well. Quinn bowls outside off stump through to the keeper, well left alone by Kartik.
That one did bounce. That carried through to Pepper at waist height. So, just a little bit up and down at the moment.
Yes. You know, it's an oldish wicket, been used before. Essex have chosen this. As I said, I think there's about 26 strips, including the netting. I think there are only 3 that are still remaining fresh and unused. Still a lot of cricket to come, eh? All of August and September. We don't finish till late September. Another ball that goes down the slope, but it starts wide and goes wider. Not given as a wide, but the batsman is simply not interested.
India may be just playing for the close ever so slightly now.
And the close is minutes away.
Yeah, we think that play will end at 6. We've heard no sort of suggestion that there must be a minimum amount of overs to be bowled today. So maybe there'll just be one more over after this one.
Thank you for all your tweets and messages and stuff throughout the day. Really pleased to hear from you all. Another ball that's wide and goes wider. Slightly repetitive that over, but with the new ball, and I'm being really pernickety here, with the new ball, you would hope that you attack the batsman and make him play. He is so happy with 5 minutes to go to leave the ball.
Yeah, if you're being hypercritical of Matt Quinn there, you would say that just not quite straight enough. It looked very pretty,
yes,
with the ball on a good length and moving away, and it's the sort of thing that might get a wicket-keeper or a slip fielder oohing and ahhing as the ball zipped around. But Dinesh Karthik was very happy to leave the ball alone because he knew he didn't have to play and there was no danger to his stumps.
Matt Quinn running in. Here he goes. He bowls outside off stump. A bit like Quinn, starts off wider, goes wider, and nobody is genuinely interested. He ain't going to get a wicket, and the batsman's not going to get a run.
So we think there's 5 deliveries remaining in the day. We don't think they'll go past 6 o'clock.
I think the clock on the Cloud FM Pavilion, or the Doug Insole Pavilion, suggests a minute too.
I think both batting and fielding side will make sure that that minute is used properly.
Bowls, baited play, that's a shout, but not out. Good delivery from Matt Coles. That did a little bit, probably nipped back. It did a little bit off the dryness of this wicket. I think it's got the batsman on the inside of the thigh.
I think 2 things at play there. Was there an inside edge, and was it a bit high? Matt Coles certainly stood still after his appeal was turned down. He was nearer Panja than he was the umpire, and he was asking the umpire, what's wrong with that? Pandya may have got an inside edge, and height would have been a problem too.
Cole's on his way again. Right arm over, bowls outside off stump. Shoulders arms does Pandya and watches it through to the keeper. Pepper, 2 slips remain, as they have basically all day in this friendly. I'm sure if it was a championship fixture, there would have been a bit of time when it was turgid cricket, when they would have sent the 2 slips out to graze and be on the inner ring and put a scout out to try and starve India of any runs. But this is a friendly. They're trying to get wickets. They've got the second new ball. Coles is on his way in. Bowls as a leading edge that goes out to backward point. No run.
Are you with us tomorrow, Dan?
No, Stefan, this is my only day. I've got to prepare for 2 weeks of cricket festivals.
Oh, really?
At the Royal Hospital School. We call them the Minor Counties Cricket Festivals. I've got the best part of 320 children representing 22 different counties arriving for a festival of cricket over the 2 weeks. It's wonderful. It's such an inspiration, so inspiring to see these kids play the proper game of cricket. Coles in, outside off stump, leaves it alone through to the keeper, dot ball. So I will be, well, hopefully the weather will stay. When there is rain around, I have to entertain the kids.
Oh dear.
That is a challenge because of the 320 kids or
what do you do with them?
Well, variety. We will do quizzes. We would put them in the swimming pool, gym. There could be some fielding games, hand-eye coordination. All depends whether it's actually raining at the time. But when it's cricket, they're just playing cricket in the beautiful sunshine inside Suffolk. Coles is in. Bowls. This is driven out to mid-wicket where I'm going to say that's a beautiful shot to finish the day because both batsmen are wandering to the pavilion. Pandya has just played a most beautiful time shot through mid-wicket. He has 37 of 59. The score is 322 for 6. Kartik Evans 82. And I am sure he's going to return tomorrow morning in search of 100.
Thanks very much for that, Don. So it's the close of play and the end of the first day of this 3-day game between Essex and India in Chelmsford. India won the toss. They have moved on to 318 for 6. If you remember, this game was scheduled to be 4 days. It was cut to 3 at the request of the BCCI. India have 18 players available to them, and that is why we found Dinesh Karthik and Hardik Pandya batting as low as 7 and 8. At one point today, earlier on, India found themselves 5 for 2, and then 44 for 3, but then half centuries from Vijay, Kohli, Rahul, Kartik 82 not out, and Hardik Pandya 33 not out has moved India on to 300.